Hello and welcome to PowerBasics by UJC. Today we are going to study economics together. I have actually done my PhD in economics, so I really enjoy teaching this subject. Let's enjoy this together. We are going to study the first topic that you need to know in 10th standard, ICSE, which is the factors of production. Before I start explaining it, let us first talk about what is a factor and what is production. Factor is something that is used as an input to produce something. What is production? Making something, producing something, making something as an output which can be used as either a good or a service is called production. Now, what are the factors of production? What goes into production? Land, look at it here. Land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship are the four factors of production. Without wasting any more time, let me get down to it one by one. In this episode or in this part, we will study about the first factor of production, which is what? It is land. So look at this. This is land. On land, why is land considered a factor of production? How is it an input into production? Why is land an input into production? Let's study this together. Let's go to the next slide. Look at the PowerBasics first. PowerBasics first means some fundas, some basics first. Economic. You are all studying economics. What does economics mean? What is economic? So what does the term economic mean? If you don't know that, there's no point studying the subject. It means to do with money. Goods and services, but to do with money. Economic means money, money, money. The economic growth of this country, the economic development of the nations, economic goods, economic bads. What is economics? It has to do with money. What are material goods and what are non-material goods? Material goods are goods that can be seen, touched. They have definite shape and size. Table, pen, cloth. Look at a pen. I can feel it. I can touch it. I can see it. It's not invisible. It has a definite shape, a cylindrical shape. It has a size. Okay, this is a material good. What are non-material goods? Goods that cannot be seen, touched. They don't have a definite shape and size. Example, all services, like a doctor. When you go to a doctor, he is going to give you his service of telling you what is making you unwell. Can you feel his service? Can you touch his service? Does it have a size? Does it have a shape? No, it's from here. He's giving you a service by saying, you have COVID, take these medicines. You have a flu, take these medicines. It is a service. Teacher, I am teaching you. My service I am giving to you is teaching. Can you feel my teaching? Can you touch my teaching? No. So it is a non-material good, but it is a good in itself. So I'm singing. Can you touch my service? You come to a concert and hear me sing. You pay for tickets and come. Can you see my service there? No. I'm dancing. Can you see my service? No. So there are material goods and the non-material goods. You must understand the definition of both because that is important for this chapter. Next important topic, utility. What does the word utility mean? It means usefulness. This pen has utility. What is the usefulness? I can write with it, right? A chair on which I'm sitting has utility. This chair, why? I'm able to sit on it. This laptop has utility. Why? I'm making this video on it. So, what is utility? Usefulness, very important. Just remember this word. It is the value in goods and services to satisfy human wants. A pen has value because it satisfies my want of writing. A chair has value because it satisfies my want of sitting. A table has value. It satisfies my want of keeping this laptop on it. This laptop has value. It is enabling me to make this video for you. My spectacles have value because they help me see. My earcords have value because they help me hear as well as talk and record. So, when wood is made into a table by a carpenter, he adds value to the raw wood. So, utility is added to the wood to make it usable. To make something usable, you add utility to it. This chair would not have been there if a piece of trunk of a tree was not there for a carpenter to chop it off and make this chair. So the carpenter added value to the tree trunk by converting it into a chair. A manufacturer added value to this wire by making it into ear cords. When coal is used in factories, it produces power, energy. Utility is added to the coal and it is used to generate power to be used in the factories. So utility is a very important concept in economics. Utility means adding value, making something useful, the usefulness of something. When value is added to something to make it useful, it is called utility. Rubber is collected from trees and then converted in factories into rubbers for you to erase. So utility is added to that rubber to make it into an eraser. Look around all the things around you and ask yourself, what was its original form, its raw form, and how utility was added to it to make it into this form. This bottle was just metal. The manufacturer added value to the metal and made it into a bottle. Now it's become useful. Now I have water in this that I can drink. So utility is added to that metal. So economic, material, non-material and utility are terms very important to understand. All economic students must understand these terms. Okay. Now, the concepts that you need to know before we went into this chapter of factors of production are here. Production. What is production? It is the creation of material goods. Material goods. Can a factory produce my thoughts that I'm teaching you? No. So production is the creation of material goods, the goods that you can see, feel and touch. Some material input is transformed from one form to another to form an output. So a material good and input is transformed into an output. So production is the creation of material goods. Some material inputs are transformed from one form to another to become an output. Metal is transformed to become a bottle. Wood is transformed to become a chair. So what are the factors of, so in the input is wood and the output is chair. Factors of production. This is the definition, okay? These are inputs used in the process of production. And there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. The father of economics, Adam Smith, has said that his definition of production is a very narrow view. Production means production of material goods only. So my giving you teaching is not production. So it's a very, very narrow view, whereas my teaching you is also production. The modern economists did not agree with Adam Smith on the definition of production, and they said, according to them, production is an activity that creates economic utility in goods and therefore considers material and non-material goods. Okay. So the modern economist said that any process, any activity that creates economic utility. What does that mean now? It's easy to learn the definition, put it in the exam, but what does it mean? Economic means money. Utility means usefulness, adding value. When economic utility is added to it, then all material and non-material goods become production. What is economic utility? Money value, money gets exchanged for the utility or the value that is created. For example, if a carpenter makes a piece of wood into a chair and then sells that chair and earns money, then that is an economic activity and that is considered production. If I charge you for these lectures or these classes that I'm taking, I take money from you in return for my services, then it is production. If money is not exchanged, although value is added, then it is not considered production. In my case, I'm adding value to your knowledge. I'm teaching you economics, but I'm not taking money in return. So my service given to you, unfortunately, is not considered production. But I'm investing my time, my energy, my resources. I've made these PowerPoints to explain to you. But since no money is exchanging hands, my service to you is not considered production. You go to school or you go to a tuition, the teacher charges you money in return for her services of teaching you. That is considered production. And that is a non-material good. You go to buy a biscuit for yourself or an ice cream for yourself. You're adding value to that ice cream by buying it and giving money in return for it. So economic utility, money usefulness when generated, that is considered production, whether it is a material good or a non-material good. A material good like a chair or a pen, non-material like teaching, doctor services, wherever you pay money for it, that is the definition of economic utility. The next important term to understand is efficient. Here it's in the next definition, efficient. Efficient means in the best possible manner. The best work in the least amount of time and your output is the best quality. That is efficient. If I'm an efficient teacher, then I'm giving you best teaching. In a small duration of time, you understand what I'm teaching and you go and do well in the exams. The output is also very good. Okay. Production mechanism. The definition could come. What is a production mechanism? The process by which goods and services are produced in the most effective and efficient manner, so that more output is obtained using fewer resources. You should be able to have a production mechanism, a businessman or somebody, where using the least amount of input in the shortest time, the best output is created. Few resources are meaning inputs, okay? Increase in production. Why do you want production to increase? Why should production increase? Why is production so important in an economy or in economics? Well, production leads to increases in income. If you have a shop and you're producing mobile phones, are you going to be happy producing one and only earning 10,000 rupees, or increasing the production of your phones to 100 phones and earning that much money? What happens now when you earn money? When you earn more money, your standard of living increases. In economics, standard of living is used a lot. What does it mean? What do you mean by standard of living? Well, if today your salary is 10,000 rupees, then you can only afford to buy certain things. If your salary becomes 1 lakh of rupees, won't your affordability of things increase? Now you'll be able to buy more things using that money, which means from 10,000, your salary has gone to 1 lakh, which means your standard of living has gone up. Okay, so what does it mean by standard of living? Your affordability, how much you can afford with the money you have. If your salary is 10 lakhs, you will buy designer clothes. If your salary is 1 lakh, maybe you'll buy from Shoppers Stop and Lifestyle. If your salary is 10,000, you'll buy from the footpath or from some other market, local market. So your standard of living is growing up as your income increases. So why is production important? The more you produce, the more income you earn, and the higher your standard of living goes. We are all employed in the production mechanism of the economy in some way or the other. Okay, good. By the way, children, if there is something you don't understand, some concept you haven't understood, you're getting confused about, first of all, please, you can like my video on YouTube. You can share comments there. My number is right here, PowerBasics by UJC. Feel free to call me, message me, ask for notes, ask for explanations. Check out the board papers. In my presentation here, all the board questions have been put through. But even then, call me if you don't understand something. Message me. I'm ready to help you out with it. Okay. Characteristics of production. Characteristics means what? Understand these terms in economics. If the question comes, give 3 characteristics of production. Characteristics, what does that mean? Well, it means properties. What are your characteristics? Very important to sit and think, children. Am I short-tempered? Am I calm and patient? Am I angry? Am I happy? Am I good? Am I bad? What are my characteristics? Everything is not taught by your parents or school. Many things are taught by you to yourself. That is called your own upbringing. And those are your characteristics. Am I a truthful person? Do I lie a lot? Do I cheat people? Am I a very, very sensible person? Do I shout and fight? Am I calm and happy? Do I help people? Do I trouble people? These are characteristics. So what are the characteristics of production? This question comes in the exam, so I put very important here. Goods and services are produced by human beings labor and capital. In the production's first characteristic is in production, human beings are used along with labor and capital. Second, these goods and services can satisfy human wants in two ways. The goods and services produced through production satisfy human wants in two ways. Directly means you use them, you eat them, you wear them directly. Indirectly, as raw materials, machines produce the goods. What does this mean? This is taught in 9th standard. A machine is able, you say, how does a machine satisfy my goods and services? It's lying in some factory. That machine produced the mobile phone that you are inseparable from. So indirectly, it produced a good which you are using. So there is direct production and there is indirect production. All right. These goods and services have a cost, price in money terms. This is economics we're talking about. So properties of production are three. The work of housewives is not considered as production. Why? Housewives, like your mothers, baby children, value what they do very useful activities at home, thereby creating a lot of value. Their work has a lot of value and usefulness. Making rotis from flour, making food, drying clothes, washing vessels, lot more, ironing the clothes, making the beds, managing the maids, and this is surely creating utility or usefulness. But this work is not considered production. Why? They have no monetary value, no economic utility. Mama doesn't say, pay me 5,000 rupees for the buttons I'm washing, pay me 5,000 rupees for the bed I'm making, pay me 2,000 rupees for combing your hair, pay me 1,000 rupees for putting all your stuff away, pay me 10,000 rupees for getting the vegetables and the fruits and deciding what to cook today. No mother or housewife is paid money for her work, unfortunately, and therefore it is not considered production. But value it, because if you start putting a value to the work that a mother or a housewife does at home, it will run into lakhs and lakhs of rupees. That's her income, which she doesn't take. So production needs to create economic utility, money usefulness in goods for them to be considered factors of production. For them to be considered production, sorry. So production has to add money value. I may be cooking at home, you're going to come and eat a dinner at night, but there's no money. Am I saying I'm charging you 500 rupees for the dish I've made? No. So my work has zero money value. Right now I'm teaching you, it has zero money value, I'm not charging for it. So it is not considered production. Production needs to create economic utility, money usefulness in goods and services for them to be considered as a part of production. I hope till here now the concepts are clear for all of you. Okay, so we spoke about utility. Utility is usefulness, adding value. Now, utility, how is it created? There are three types of utility. How utility is created. It could be called as types or how it is created. The first one, form utility. Utility created by changing the form or shape. A carpenter changes wood into a chair. A tailor converts cloth into a dress. A flour mill converts wheat into flour. So in the case of a chair, wood, the shape of wood is changed into a chair. A tailor changes cloth into a dress, its shape is changing. A flour mill converts wheat into flour. Flour is atta with which we make rotis. So shape of that wheat grain is changed into flour. This is called shape or form utility. Place utility. Utility created by transporting goods from one place to another. This utility can increase or decrease. Goods are transported from places they are not useful to places where they are useful. For example, transporting coal from mines to factories. You're transporting the good from one place to the other. In the factory it is being used, so value is being added to it. Transporting wheat to flour mills. Transporting marble from Rajasthan to place of construction and use. So you're transporting a good for its value to increase. This is called place utility. Time utility. Utility created through change of time. Now, goods are stored where available in plenty and supplied when in short supply. Example, peas are in plenty in winter and are frozen in cold storage and stored and then used in the summer. So time utility. Now it is produced, saved and stored, used later on. And this is shortage. That is called time utility. Okay. A farmer in Punjab transports wheat from the farm to a flour mill. Is this activity considered as production and why? Yes, it is considered as production because this is place utility. Here, utility is created by transporting wheat from the farm to the flour mill. The usefulness of wheat is increased when it is converted from wheat into flour and used to make chapatis, right? It's adding value. So, transporting it from one place to the other has made that thing useful. I hope you've got this now, utility and its forms. So what are the factors of production? Let's define them. We've come to that point of defining them. Anything that helps in the process of production of goods and services are called the factors of production. This is Benham's definition. He's a famous economist. Anything that helps in the process of production of goods and services is called a factor of production. These include land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means intelligence, okay? They're also called inputs. So if you're asked the definition of the definition of a factor of production, then these 3 points must come in. Those things that help in the process of production of goods and services are called factors of production. They include land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. They're also called inputs. It is the services of land, labor, and capital that are used by producers in the process of production. The services of land means land says, I'm here, come work on me. These guys say, I'll give you my service. Capital says, my services, I'll help you buy things for your factories. Entrepreneurship is, I have ideas, I have intelligence, I'll help you with that. I'll give you that service. Okay. Now, land is an important factor of production. Let us start with land. Why is land so important? What is so great about land? What is land in economics, or define land in economics? Land includes the upper surface of soil, the upper surface of Mother Earth, and all the free gifts of nature. It's not just the surface of the soil, which are economically useful to man. Economically useful means can generate money, usefulness, and value, and which can be regulated, which means which can be controlled. So they ask you the definition of land as a factor of production. Then you have to say this: the upper surface of the soil and all free gifts of nature which are economically useful and can be regulated. What do you mean by regulated? It means controlled. Can you control rainfall? Can you control sunshine? Can you control all those air, heat? Can you control them? No. What is in our control? The minerals inside the earth, like the coal, the iron, the silver, the gold, the petroleum. They are in our control. We can decide how much to excavate and how much not to excavate. So, important to understand free gifts of nature that are economically useful. Do you get money in return for sunlight or in return for rainfall? No. But you get money in return for coal, petroleum, and which can be regulated. That means supply can be controlled. Land is thus taken as all natural resources. The question comes, why is land taken as all natural resources? This is the answer. Land is needed in every type of production activity, and so it is a basic factor of production. The question comes, why is land the most basic factor of production? Without land, labor is going to go and work where? Money has what value? Can you set up factories in the air and space without land? Intelligence is of what use if you can't apply it? Entrepreneurship. So land is the most basic factor of production because land is needed in every type of production activity. Okay? There are opposing viewpoints on the definition of land. Alfred Marshall, a point, had the opinion that since land includes free gifts of nature, essential to production processes, these free gifts should be considered to be a part of the supply of land. Because they are free gifts of nature, they should be part of supply of land. But how? Some we can't regulate, some we don't get money for. Professor Cairncross, another very important economist, opined that to be considered a factor of production, the commodity or service should be such that its supply is under human control. It can be regulated. Natural resources such as coal, petroleum, etc. are gifts of nature. They can be in human control and their supply regulated. Factors such as sunlight, rainfall are beyond human control. Their supply cannot be regulated by humans. Cairncross's view has been accepted by the modern economists as the definition of land. Free gifts of nature are many. They include what you can regulate and what you cannot regulate, like rainfall, sunlight, air, heat, cold. Many things you can regulate, many things you cannot regulate. All right. So now we come to the characteristics of land. What are the properties of land? What is it that is important about land? This comes in the exam. State 2 characteristics, 2 properties, 3 properties. You must learn a couple of them. It's a free gift of nature. It is a gift of nature given to man free of cost. No spending, no efforts needed. It has no cost of production. All others have a cost of production. Land is here. Mother Earth does not charge you money to set up your house there or a building there or a factory there, and therefore human beings take her for granted and destroy her. We throw plastic everywhere. We throw our junk everywhere. We spit anywhere. We throw our debris anywhere. We do potty anywhere. We don't give a shit about Mother Earth. Why? Because she's free. She doesn't charge you for using her. Labor, capital, and entrepreneurship are not free. If you are asked to go and work somewhere, you will say, give me a salary, money in return for my services. If you want to borrow money, capital from me, I will say, pay me interest for it. Then I'll give it to you. It's not for free. You will say, Miss, teach us economics. I'll say, well, for my intelligence, pay me money as tuition fees and I'll teach you. Nothing other than Mother Earth is for free, and therefore we take her for granted and we're destroying her. So she is limited in supply. We cannot say Mother Earth multiply, become twice your size, thrice your size, 4 times your size. No. She is in fixed supply. Land is in fixed supply. Its supply cannot be increased, all others can. How? Have population, have many children, number of laborers will go up, workers will go up. Have chapo money, print money, capital will go up. Study more, intelligence will go up. Mother Earth, land cannot change its amount, its quantity, it's limited in supply. It is a primary factor of production. We just studied that. Land is a basic factor of production. It is needed in every type of production activity, putting up industries, growing crops. So it's a basic factor without which we can't start doing things in the air or in space. It is a passive factor of production. There is active and there is passive. Passive means it cannot produce anything by itself. Land doesn't have hands and legs to start producing. It's passive. It's there, use me if you want, and produce. Without labor and capital, land cannot produce anything by itself. So it is a passive factor of production. Whereas labor and entrepreneurship, they're all active factors of production. It is permanent. It is indestructible and will always be in existence. Fertility of land can be used up and renewed. You drop a nuclear bomb, part of the earth will burst, but the earth will still be there. Land will still be there. We'll all be dead. Labor dead. Money burnt up. Entrepreneurship dead. Land will remain. It is permanent. It is immovable. You can't transport the earth from here to there. You can't cut a chunk of land here and take it somewhere else. No, it is immovable. It varies in fertility. Fertility of land differs from place to place. Fertility of land can be enhanced, improved by chemical fertilizers, but it's not permanent. So certain pieces of land are fertile, some are not fertile, some can grow crops very well, some don't grow crops very well. Put fertilizers, improve its fertility, but that improvement will not be permanent then. Again have to put fertilizers after some time. It differs in location. You all know topography. Somewhere mountains, somewhere rivers, somewhere lakes, somewhere plateaus. So it differs in location. It has many uses. You can do cultivation, agriculture. You can set up factories, roads, railway tracks, airports. You name it, you have it. Land is so useful. So these are the 9 characteristics of land. Please learn them up. Just writing the subheadings is not going to get you marks. Write the explanation below it in points. So beautifully, I made it so easy for you. Learn it from here if you like. Now, explain the meaning of land as a factor of production. I've put in some questions that have come in the exams for you guys to understand. Land is defined to include the surface of the earth and all free gifts of nature that can be regulated by man. Okay? It helps in the production of goods and services. In every kind of production activity, land needs to be used. Example, raw materials for industries come from growing them on land or from the metals inside land. Site for industries and buildings, production of crops for agriculture. So land is an important factor of production. So if they ask you the meaning of land as a factor of production, these points have to be included. Land is heterogeneous in nature. Explain. But understand, what does heterogeneous mean? Take our dictionary and understand the meaning if you don't know it. Heterogeneous means not same, not uniform. Homogeneous means same and uniform. Land is heterogeneous in nature because it varies by location. I just told you that. It varies in fertility. The degree of mineral wealth content differs from place to place. So, it is heterogeneous. Give two functions of land as a factor of production. This has come in the exam. This is not characteristic. This is function. It is used in agriculture. Agricultural land helps in growing food grains. Manufacturing. The availability of mineral ores such as iron ore, copper, tin, etc. is what the manufacturing industry is dependent on. That comes from land, from inside the land. So two uses, agriculture and manufacturing through the availability of mineral ores. What is the productivity of land? The average output per unit of land is called the productivity of land. Just learn up this definition. State two characteristics of land as a factor of production. The supply of land is fixed. Land is heterogeneous in nature, but write their sub-points also. I'm not repeating them here. How does land differ from the other factors of production? Very important. The supply of land is fixed, while the supply of other factors of production, so the labor and capital, is variable. You can change it. Land is immobile. It can't move. While the other factors of production, like labor, for example, can move from one place to another. Money can be carried from one place to another. But land is immobile and fixed in supply. Now, what are the important functions of land? The question is, land is the source. If the question comes, land is the original source of all material wealth. Explain. Material means money, wealth. So how is land important to man? First, industrial development. This is industrial development. Land provides precious metals like gold, silver, copper, iron, etc. Okay, machines are made from these iron ores, mineral ores, and other metals, which then lead to wealth generation. The person who puts up the factory earns money. Agricultural development. Crops are grown on land. This is agriculture. Buildings, construction is happening here. Buildings are constructed on land using materials provided by the land. Like what? Iron ores, mineral ores from the land to take out iron, and then you build on land. Land provides us with food and clothing. It facilitates the construction of transport and communication. Seaways, motorways, airways, not airways, but motorways and seaways. Source of electricity. This is electric power generation, hydroelectric station. Rich reserves of water, petroleum and coal give us electricity, and it promotes science and technology. So if they ask you the question, how is land important to man? It is different from characteristics of land. Or land is the source of all material wealth, which means the money we earn comes from land. How? Write these points. Okay. Productivity of land. What does productivity mean? The capacity of a piece of land to produce crops. Is this land productive? Means, can crops be grown on it? That is productivity of land. Definition, just learn it. The average output per unit of land is called productivity of land. Output over area of land. If you have 1 hectare of land or 1 acre of land, and you produce 1,000 quintals of food, 1,000 upon 1 hectare or 1 acre is the productivity of land. So what affects the productivity of land? All land is not productive. Why? What is affecting it? What are the factors that affect the productivity of land? First, natural factors. Fertility of land, slope of land, climate. If the land is sloping, all the water will just drain off. Chemical and biological properties of the soil. So first is natural factors, which is the fertility, the slope of the land and the climate of that area, and the chemical and biological properties of the soil. How fertile is the soil? That is the first point. Second, size of land holdings, which means 1 acre, 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. A land holding size means how much land do you hold? How much land do you own? Productivity of land is high for large land holdings, as these can avail the advantages of large scale of production and modern techniques of production. If you have a chotu piece of land, you can't run a tractor on it. You have a big piece of land, you can run a tractor, you can use modern technology, you can produce in large quantity. So the larger the size holding of the land, the more productive you are. The more productive the land is. Human factors. Land needs the human factor to come and use it, as land cannot produce anything on its own. The knowledge and training of farmers becomes important for land to be used best. So human factors is, there's a farmer, but he has no knowledge about modern techniques. His productivity for the land is going to be less than a farmer who's more intelligent, more skills. who understands, who's more educated, who understands how to use modern techniques on the piece of land he has. Improvements on land. If you give tube wells for irrigation, proper drainage, proper fencing so that the cattle don't come and spoil your crops, land is more productive. Location of land. Land, very important point. They will ask you in the exam. They could ask you, why is location of land important for productivity of land? Land located close to markets is considered more productive. Far away from markets, farmers have to incur added costs to bring the produce to the market, thus reducing the productivity of land as this adds to their cost. If I have a farm close to the market, I can quickly take my produce there. So I know I have an incentive to increase productivity because the market is close to me. Market is far away from me. I'm like, oh God, now I have to hire one tempo and take all the thing there. It's adding to my costs. So I won't be concerned with productivity more. Now, organization of land. How well labor and capital are organized also affects the productivity of land. You need trained workers, modern inputs, scientific methods, good seeds, good source of irrigation. These things, if they are there, if land is organized well, productivity of land goes up. So we continue now with the factors affecting the productivity of land. We've done 6 topics already. Ownership of land. Owners tend to take more interest in increasing the productivity of land. If you're an owner, you will want to increase the productivity of land. If you're a tenant, you're renting land from someone, they do not take much interest as they stand the risk of being evicted from the land. Evicted means asked to leave. So if you're an owner, suppose I own a house, I'll take care of all the carpentry work, the plumbing and everything. I'm renting a house, I'm like, it's not my house, what's the big deal? Let things just go. Okay. Availability of capital. When there is more capital, money available, the productivity of land can be increased using improved seeds, machines, chemical fertilizers. This is also called intensive cultivation, and it increases the productivity on small pieces of land as well. If you're a rich farmer, you have capital. Capital means money, cash. You can use more technology to improve productivity of your land. If you're a poor farmer, you don't have capital. Capital means money. You can't do much with your land, right? Proper use of land. If a piece of land is suitable to grow rice, but wheat is produced on it, then the productivity of that land will get badly affected. Properly using land increases its productivity. State health. State does not mean, state of Maharashtra. It's a state government. A vital role by the state in providing subsidized low-cost inputs to farmers, as this can increase the productivity of land, especially for poor farmers. Poor farmers, if the state government helps them, provides them with fertilizers, high-yielding variety of seeds, then their productivity of their land will go up. So state, the government also plays an important role to raise the productivity of land, especially for poor farmers. How can the efficiency of land be enhanced? Efficiency is another word used for productivity. It's proper utilization, proper use of land, and give this information here. Proper use of technology. High yielding varieties of seeds, chemical manures, fertilizers, and new and improved mechanization methods can improve the productivity of land. Improved technology affects the productivity of land, explained with examples, which means what are these improved technology methods that increase the productivity of land. Improved technology for agriculture and to increase the productivity of land means the use of high yielding varieties of seeds, chemical manures and fertilizers. So if you are asked, what is this? You keep saying that, use proper technology, but what is this technology? It is high yielding varieties of seeds, chemical manures and fertilizers, as these increase the per unit output of land considerably. This ends the first part of land as a factor of production. I hope you've enjoyed going through it with me and have understood the concepts well. Any issues, any problems, any consultation you want to ask me to explain, feel free to call me. My number is given in some of the slides. Power Basics by UJC. God bless you. Have fun. I will return with part 2, which looks at labor as a factor of production. This was all about factors of production in general and land as a factor of production. Take care and God bless.